midway through servicing this roof drain, I had the idea, oh, I should make a video about this. So, on a flat roof, see, we're flat, the clamping ring for the drain squeezes all your layers of roofing material together on the lead that's in there too. And if it's not tight, especially when you have a heavy rain where the bowl might be filling up, water can get back underneath because it needs that clamping force to hold the layers together. So the first thing you do is you come up with your wrench and you check the bolts and make sure they're tight, because that's something that, even though this is a warranted roof, tightening bolts is considered maintenance. If you call this in as a warranty leak, technicians come out, tighten your bolts, and say, oh, that was not under warranty, here's your $500 bill for that. So the first thing you want to do is make sure your bolts are tight. Now in this case, the bolts were tight in that you could put a wrench on them and you couldn't turn, but they were sticking up just a little bit, and even though it was tight, the washers could move. And this is something that is fairly common. It means one way or another the bolt has bottomed out in the hole. So yeah, it's tight, you can't turn it, but it's not clamping things down. A lot of times there's hot tar gets in the holes when the roof's being put on. Sometimes you can get stone and debris in there. So the first thing to do is pull the bolts out and clean out the holes. So you want the appropriate size tap, and you can sort of see, well, this is all the junk that's come out from the other holes. There, you can see these flutes are full. With stuff. If there's rocks in there, you kind of have to dig at it and break it up. But in any case, cleaning out the threads and then new bolts. In this case, you can see there was definitely something down there that was bottoming out the bolt, boogering it up. And the new ones, which are the same length, went in just fine after I cleaned the holes. Another thing that's kind of odd about this drain, well, two things are odd. The bolts are 5/16. Normally, in my experience, drain bolts tend to be 3/8, which slowed me down a little bit because I had to get a different size tap. But also, the washers were slightly oversized because you have so little clearance between the lip here. And it's a little tricky because the washer's jammed in sideways and it almost feels like it's tight. Whereas because it's 3/8 washers on the 5/16 bolt, whereas a 5/16 washer on a 5/16 bolt fits in nicely and is symmetrical like it should be. I got very, very lucky in this case that none of the old bolts broke. That's always a possibility. So I brought all my drill and tap and had the rest of the day open in case I have to drill them out, because that's just no fun. But anyway, another very important tool up here. This is what they call gutter stuff. It's like a foam that you're supposed to put in your gutters to keep debris out. It doesn't do a great job of that, but you can roll it up, shove it in a hole, and not lose things down the hole. So I got 1.5 more bolts to go here, and then hopefully this job will be done. We'll see next drain whether it actually did the trick or not. Here's an example. You see that bolt? I don't know if you can see because there's a glare. That bolt's not even touching the washer. So how the heck is that providing any clamping force? It's not. Look, the washer's loose. It's not doing anything. I don't know why it's not leaking yet. And I'm not going to mess with it today because I've got a million other things to try to do. But that's definitely not right. And probably just a matter of time before it starts to leak. I'm guessing that these bolts are too long. Because on the other drain, they were all messed up at the end. Remember, I showed you the threads. And after I ran the tap in, I got a good bit of asphalt out. But also, I felt like I was cutting some threads at the end. And I kind of think maybe the hole is not threaded all the way. And so the reason they were all tight and the last threads were messed up was because the bolt was too long for the hole. So if I do get a bunch more leaks around here, maybe I will try getting shorter bolts. Still always a chance that there's, debris in the hole that happens, and there was a good bit that came out of the other ones. But if I can pull the bolts out, these bolts, without breaking them, that's, fingers crossed, without breaking them, and just put a 1/2 inch shorter bolt in, that might be the ticket. But there's probably, 50 to 100 drains here, because it's drains and overflows. This one's actually an overflow. And if that's the case on the entire building, man, that sucks.